Welcome, everybody. I'm PJ Gaynard. We are with our B group, the Group B, Filmmakers Talkback. What I was hoping we could do first is just work our way around so that everybody gets a chance to introduce yourself, say what film you're from, and give like a sentence or a brief description about how your weekend was. So maybe we'll start with let's start with Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
Right, yeah, I'm Matt Schifani. I produced the Cookies and Dreams movie, the first one about the eating competition. And my weekend went really well. I had a new team. Most of the people I'd never met before. We had 15 people, all pretty new, and everything went as well as could be expected. So
nice.
Yeah.
Bob Scott, the Zoo. Tell us.
Hey, hi, yeah, Bob Scott, the Zoo, Carnegie Screenwriters, and the weekend was a zoo. I was pretty crazy trying to tackle, stop motion animation and a blend of that and live, but we did it. I don't know. Props to the crew and the cast, and I just basically had to sit back and drink coffee and eat cookies, and so it was nice. It was great. It was no stress at all.
Jesse Hutchins, how was it? Tell us about your movie and give us a brief description of your weekend of filmmaking.
Well, we did Channel Theory. It was fun. I mean, who wrote the story? Our screenwriter is pretty brilliant. So at first I was kind of, like weary about doing it, but as he explained the whole story, which is based on string theory, I was on board. So we got it done. I mean, the worst part, like always, is editing on Sunday and trying to get it turned in on time.
Nice. Fernando de la Cruz, tell us your film and give us a description of your weekend. Brief description.
Hi, I'm Fernando for Odium, and let me tell you, wait, hold on. Is it still going? There we go. Okay, so it was a fun ride, and Zane came up with the story, and I was supposed to be the director, but we had a bunch of situations happening where I ended up being an actor too. Then we had a situation where we lost one cameraman, so I had to film some of the part of it. But like honestly, we all directed it, and we all filmed this together. This film would not be done without every single team. I appreciate every single one of them. And it was funny because we called it the prop house. There was no electricity, there was no heat. We had a little jumper thing that you jump your car. We had that to power the laptop to edit on each freaking day. Then it lost battery, so we had to go back to Andy's place, the co-director, and we filmed some of it there. And our editor was like, we need to get all of this done now. But you know what? We did the best we could. So it was a fun weekend. It was a day to remember. We cried, we sighed, we went bye, minus the instinct. But it was a good time. Let me tell you, it was a good time. We had bunches of laughs and lots of there it is. So it was a good time. I'm telling you, it was a good freaking good time. So
Right.
Yeah.
Veronica White. Give me a brief description of your filmmaking weekend.
We had a good time. We had about 10 people on set. We had a mix of, Sean brought in some of his professional buddies who were volunteering for us. And then you had my hobbyist group, if you will. And so it was a little rough getting started because my assistant director was actually in front of the camera. So we filmed her 2 scenes first. And then she did such a good job on the argument that an HR representative from the building across the street came out into the street to see if she needed to help because they didn't realize we were filming. They thought it was an actual argument outside. So kudos to Crystal for that. But once we got going, and once Crystal Ann, was able to help behind the scenes, it moved a lot better. And so we had a lot of fun. What a team! Oh my gosh! And there's a couple pranks that were going on, and from our lighting guy, and I'm paybacks. I'm gonna get back.
Nice. Alex, tell us about your film and about a brief description of your weekend.
Hey, yeah, we're Team Golden Hour. We did Eyes of Fire. This was our first time doing a 48-hour film fest, so everything was new to us, and we learned a lot of lessons on the way. I think our inspiration was we were watching a lot of old black and white films that week and kind of just tried to copy a lot of the looks and feels of that. But this is kind of the start of a new hobby for me and my team, and we're excited to keep at it. Yeah, that's kind of it. We had a lot of pivots like that we had to deal with, like actors not pulling through at the end and having to switch the story up, but I think we kind of were flexible and stuck with it. Got a finished product in the end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jenny Louise, Devil's Lettuce. Tell me about give me a brief description of your weekend.
It was a heck of a ride. It ended up being 2 humans and 1 dog. And it was both of our first experience doing the 48. We both wrote the story. We had 2 different ideas. I came up with the God Devil thing, and Joe, my other team member, said, "Why don't we make this into a comedy, and we'll write this for our other actor." But then he couldn't make it, so we were like, I'll just play both roles. I'll play the angel and the stoner. So, yeah, we managed to get sleep somehow, and I'm not sure how we ended up finishing the film, but a miracle happened. And I have to say, it was all Joe. Once we had the story, he lined everything up in his head, and he was so good at putting all that together and doing the editing. And so surprisingly, it went a lot quicker than we anticipated.
Yeah, nice. Let's talk about how these, for all of you, for these films, and some of you have touched on this, but some of you haven't yet, how it went from being a kernel of an idea into this full-fledged film. Like, what was that process like? Like, how did it start, and then how did it become what we saw? What sort of happened along the way? Who would like to start?
So good at putting all that.
How about you, Bob?
Well, as always, it starts with the script. And if you're in a group called Carnegie Screenwriters, you better come up with some good scripts. We had a team of writers on standby. We probably had 10 different scripts sent to us that evening, and the production staff, we would look through them and see what works, what doesn't, what we could shoot reasonably. And
yeah, because with your team, it's almost like you have a little mini script competition in the middle of the 48.
Yeah. So, but the one we chose by Aaron Such, with the animation with the animals, it was crazy. We were nervous about it because it's I keep saying stop motion animation. Is that right? That shows you what I know about it. But Lori Smith, our cinematographer, had worked with it, and she had it set up in her studio, and she kept saying, "Yeah, we can do this. We can do this." Well, I don't know if her husband's speaking to her yet, Dennis, but they work literally around the clock all weekend to do the animation part, and we filmed the live action. But yeah, it was just, it was a crazy ride, but Aaron's a good writer, and he's got a quirky, weird, twisted sense of humor. So, and then we were able to incorporate all the crazy animals and everything. And Yeah, it was interesting, but a lot of wine got me through it. So
Nice. How about for you, Jesse? How did it go from this kernel of an idea into what we see?
Well, when we drew our genres, we got climate change and time travel. And I figured time travel is going to be pretty hard. So I was like, all right, well, we'll go with climate change. And we just couldn't figure out a perfect story. And then, like I said, Wes, our writer, he kind of pitched this idea, and we were kind of like going, well, we could do something as simple as like Groundhog's Day. And so then we started tossing out ideas, and we came up with the script, and then we shot it, so pretty straightforward for us.
So once you had that script, there really wasn't a lot of changes, huh? It was
No, I mean, we made a couple of changes the day of the shooting, like in the scene where David is reciting, like he's anticipating the lines coming out from the characters. We just added that on while we're shooting. So, other than that, it was just we stuck to the script.
all right. How about for you, Matt?
Well, I think my team really struggled with the comedy aspects that we drew this year. Pretty much everybody involved on that first night, I think, would have preferred to go more of a drama route. So we burned probably about 2 hours on an idea that didn't come to fruition. And the director, Steven Santa, he out of the blue came up with the competitive eating idea instead of what we were going to do, which was like a home shopping network parody. And then everybody bounced, and I actually went to sleep and got up around 3 and finished it. So it was definitely not one of the easier writing sessions I've done for 48, but that time crunch really hits you, and you have to come up with something, and in a way that's a saving grace. You're going to have to get it done.
So, and then it just pretty much, once you had the script, it went like roses, huh?
Yeah, it really fell together. Once you make that decision, and you start moving on it.
How about for you, Fernando?
So yeah, it basically was about like Zala's story, and we were trying to figure out how to do the cookies, how to include Neki cookies, which whoever made that name up, by the way, I bet you, I know you all struggled. That's a hard name to say. Anyways, so we were trying to figure out how to include him. And so like we ended up using him as like Zala's ex in the past. And so Zala's friend wanted to bring her back to the home for her to face her fears. And then she kept mixing up, it was because all through PTSD, and she kept mixing up reality with the past. And so we thought, how are we going to include cookies in this intense situation? Oh, okay. So she ends up beating up her friend till he's in a bloody pulp looking like a raisin. And boom, there's the cookies. So that's how we came with it. It was a hurdle that we had one idea, then we went to another situation, like all over the place, but it turned out good. So
Nice. How about for you, Veronica? Did you always know that it was going to be this this story about this guy and this this Davo? Did you always know it was going to be a story about this guy?
Well, I knew it was going to be a brother-sister story. I didn't want to do a romance or anything or deal with that. So I was very happy with the genres that we pulled. Thank you, Jesse Hutchins, for taking one there. You had some rough genres, but we were happy with ours. And Sean and I went into we had a writer's room, and we're bouncing out the structure of the story. A day in the life. This guy's missing his sister, and what was it going to look like? And when we had toured the shooting location, I took a shine to that bank of lights hanging up, and it was like, hey, I want to shoot there. And I liked the outdoor space with the rusted metal fencing. that the first scene we shot in. So I really liked that. So I kind of knew, you know, some basics that, but we hammered out the script on Friday night, and you know, it was kind of funny. I thought I was finished at about 11 o'clock, you know, the Carnegie screenwriter schedule. And then I sent it off to Sean, you know, he's the DP, and he was going to do the shot list and stuff. And so he says, are you done? And I was like, well, yeah. Well, we weren't done. So we did another round of notes, and it really made it a lot better. So I was very grateful that the younger DP kept me going for a little later. I think I only got like 3 hours sleep Friday night. So that was hard as you know, the little bit older, that was tough. But once we got going on Saturday shooting, it was a long day. We went till, I think it was 11:30 when I left with Vince, dropped him off at home. And, you know, Sean and Dave were just closing up. So, but it was a fun, and the nice thing is we had such a good team that during the shoot, it took a little while for us to get it together. And then once we got it together, we got our process down, and we started knocking some of these scenes out. Our group would, and Kate especially, our lead actress, was coming up with these great lines, you know. So you know, who brings a mop to a broom fight? That was her line. I had something in there, but she came up with something much better. So it was really nice to see how the story improved as the day went on, and people were getting into the story and feeling their places, and you know, coming up with some good suggestions. So the smoking scene, for example, with Vince walking in and he's like, where's my lighter? You know, that was all, he just improv that was not in the script. He just was into his character so much so that was nice to see that, you know, that people were getting into their characters and improving the script. Our little happy intern with his mop and all that, he improvised that. You know, I just had said, I want you to go, you know, get into a broom fight with this guy. And he came up with that funny little imitation thing. And so it was nice to see it develop.
Nice. Yeah, I really love this stuff with the broom, actually.
Wasn't he hilarious? He's this 17-year-old. He's a friend of my neighbor's, you know, like his mom had to drive him. And at the last minute, I made sure he got his mom to sign the form. Yeah, he's a theater student at Moon Area High School. And he ran the slate for us, and he was doing little errands and stuff. And I had told him I'd give him one line. And then it kind of turned into, wow, we need a little comic relief here. This is a depressing movie. You know? So he did a great job with it. That was all him.
How about for you, Alex? I know you said that you were watching some black and white films, some older films, and that's where you draw inspiration. But did you guys have a tight script, or was it more of like a loose feeling? You know, I get different feelings when I watch your film, and it feels a little more experimental than some of the others, and that's okay. How did it go for you?
We spent probably all of Friday night and up until Saturday afternoon working on an elaborate script that we didn't even follow in the end. Like our Ned Key Gleason was supposed to be Nora Key Gleason, and the actress that was gonna play that role bailed in the last minute. So who was like working the camera and not planning on acting at all, just kind of had to jump into that role last second. But in a way that kind of like put the pressure off and kind of just made it more fun, and like just like our friend, it was just me, my housemate, and one friend kind of doing the whole thing. And yeah, it just made it fun. Like at that point when she bailed, we were just like, well, now let's just kind of like experiment with this, try to make some of these shots like more interesting. I think when we were working on the script, because we knew there was only 3 of us, we got a little bit too ambitious, maybe with like the different locations, the sets, like the potential like axe battle that was gonna happen at the end. But Yeah, I mean, I think I learned some lessons about like simplifying it and maybe keeping it in like one room and one setting. That probably would have helped like make it more polished and fine-tuned. But yeah, just in the end, I feel like we were just experimenting the whole time, and we focused so much on the script. But probably having the script in the end helped, because like when the circumstances changed and we didn't have the people we needed, we still had like some sort of structure to follow. We weren't like lost, like, oh, what do we do now? Do we just give up? It was kind of like, well, we know we need to hit this beat and that beat and at least communicate this to the audience. So yeah, I feel like we at least got those essential things in, but it was definitely experimental. Like just a lot of like, we had one set location that we were driving to, and I had kind of an idea of what shots I wanted there, but along the way I was just filming Connor, the guy who was driving the truck, along the way, and just basically edited those shots into the film. And that wasn't planned. That was just like experimenting with the camera. So yeah, it was definitely a very fluid, improvisational sort of process.
Nice. And from one improvisational feeling to maybe the other film in this block that had a little bit of that feeling, but with some real special effects. Jenny, how did it grow? And I know you say you lost some people along the way and things changed. Like what can you tell us about your anything else about your weekend or about the story?
Friday I wouldn't call it a script. I would maybe call it an outline. And we said, you know what, let's just go to sleep and we'll figure it out in the morning. And Joe came up with a shot list, and then the actor bailed, and there was a bit of a freak out because the role was written specifically for him. And I'm not a stoner, and we were like, I don't know if I'm going to pull this off or not. And I'm not exactly sure if we've ever had an official script. We kind of we went with it, and we just started filming basically. And we actually did most of the filming on Sunday, and it added a couple years to my life because it was just down to the wire as far as editing. But Joe he had the shots in his head, and he knew the effects he wanted to add. And I was like, okay, I trust you. I trust you. But I kind of resolved the fact that we weren't going to make the deadline, and somehow it all came together. And there were no lines written or anything like that. It was like, okay, now you're the angel, say something. And yeah, I'm not sure where we were going with that. I just think we want everyone to go back to church and don't smoke the devil's lettuce. And we hope we send a good message to the children.
Jennifer, I loved your angel bit in the car. I was laughing out loud, the character that you came up with the white jacket and that was very funny.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was just grab and go. And yeah, I was just holding my that, and we were like, well, it'd be great if there was God in this. And that's Roxy. It's her birthday today. Actually, she's tuckered out. But we were like, yeah.
You made her a movie star for her birthday.
Yeah, we were like, we're gonna give her a role no matter what, and that's basically all we really wanted to do.
Well, you can't ask better than being God, so.
Right. I think she played it well. The silent type. Few words. Powerful.
Well, my 10-year-old granddaughter loved it. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So Nick Lamontia, a late addition for our Zoom call. Hey, buddy, tell us about your movie. How did you end up with this idea that we see? I think it's a comedic tour de force.
Hi. Yeah, so myself and my co-writer, Brett Hollabaugh, there's Brett. We looked at all of the genre pieces and we know we wanted to make something funny. And so we set off with that at our onset, and we wanted to welcome improv, and that's kind of where we spun it. And a lot of what you saw was improv between myself and Brett, and between us and Brandon and Macy, the other actor, and just playing off of that and welcoming people's natural talents and making things happen.
And so when you work in that way, does that mean you've got goals that you've got, you know where you want to go with the scene, and then you just let it breathe and you know your character?
Yeah. One of my big things as a director is playing off of simplicity and covering the shot in as many simple angles as possible. And Brandon, who's been my co-director for years, was our cinematographer on this, and welcoming his skill set in shooting the scenes in a simplistic way. And I always say, if I can have one complicated shot, which if you actually look at the gun shot, which didn't seem to be complicated, which we did a weird camera movement with a strategically placed lamp to mimic the gun flash and the muzzle flash. We wanted to make sure that we were telling a simple story with quick pace, and we were welcoming improv. There were some rants that went on for 45 seconds to a minute and a half that were cut down to about 4 seconds. And by sticking to the story and making sure we had the story, we were able to pare back improv moments between Brett and I, because frankly, Brett and I went on for minutes upon minutes upon minutes for each scene, and just let Brandon, as the cinematographer editor, cut it down to what worked.
Nice. Yeah, great job, man. It's so funny.
Thank you. We wanted humor, and hopefully that came through. We feel we're naturally improv based people, and so we wanted to lean into that. So while we had something on the paper, we just let it roll improv wise. And there are many outtakes that I know did not make the final cut. And there were many nerves from one Kevin Hania when we hit 10.5 minutes at a rough cut. And we were able to pare it back and hit that 7 minutes while keeping a quick story pace.
So I only have you all for a couple more minutes. What has for any of you, has this project spawned something new, or a new relationship, or any kind of new thing that's going to happen? And if not, then what do you got next? But if it does, yeah, I can see Fernando. Fernando, tell us, Fernando.
Oh, yeah, we're freaking like a big old happy family. We're like the Brady Bunch, just more colorful. But we plan on doing another film together, a Halloween film. So we cannot wait to do more projects together. Like, we're all different. We all have different type of styles, but every different type of style we plan into one film, and it turns out unique. And like, I'm really thankful that I met these people, and we're all we're all wacky, but in a good way. So, I just can't wait to work with these guys again. They're all really, really down to earth people. And, we all have a specific role. Like, some of us are better at certain things than others. And, we learn from one another. And now we're like planning on more things to do in the future. Then also, like, right now we're hanging out. I'm just chilling in the dining room because I don't want to, be loud with them. So, but yeah, I cannot wait to work with them. They're really, really cool people. And it also teaches us, this actually taught us to, like, when your time is limited, you can't mess around, you got to keep on going, because it's so easy to like get silly, because like after a while you just start to become like best buddies, instead of like, all right, guys, we have like how much time left to get this film done. So, but that's what we got.
Nice. Anybody else? Yeah, Nick.
Hey, PJ. One of the big things, and we're coming from the Body Farm background, which was heavy serious, and yes, there were points of hyperrealism.
Yeah,
But
for those who don't know, Body Farm was like a multi-year feature film that Nick made with his team, and it has distribution now. It's great.
So we're pretty widespread. We're in about 60 territories, but the one thing that we saw as a team that we want to sort of welcome is our improv ability and play off of that and play off of the humor aspect, because it seems to play well, and it seems to play within our strength set, in using the heavy drama background that we have to tell a story while tapping into the improv comedy aspect is something we definitely want to lean into in the future.
Nice.
So that's where we're headed, hopefully.
I hope for more and non-working legs.
Those are mine, and they sometimes work.
How about for you, Jesse? I know this is you work with similar people a lot. You have sort of an established team. Except Bob, I know same with you, Bob Scott. You have a sort of established teams. Do you think you'll pursue these ideas more, or has it spawned anything new with your team, or pushed you in any kind of new direction?
Well, I've pretty much built a film family, per se. Our goal is just to make great films, and whatever story comes up, we're going to tackle it, whether it's, drama or sci-fi or whatever. But from doing Channel Theory, it actually sparked a little idea, kind of like a little 80s nostalgic type film. So maybe one day down the road, it'll come to life.
Fingers crossed. I could deal with a red slate 80s.
Yes.
For you, Bob?
Well, I will say that Lori has me sold now on that stop motion animation, which I was, a little hesitant about, but I'm working on my own take on Julius Caesar now, using her animal puppets. So, and I just want to say too that this is a lot of fun, these weekends, but they take their toll. I mean, honestly, I'm 25 years old and look at me. Look what this weekend did to me. I looked like, Matt or Nick or one of these guys before, a couple of weeks ago, and now look at me. But it's fun. It's fun. So.
I was talking to Veronica, and she had said similar things, that the weekend takes its toll on you.
Oh, Veronica's a young kid.
I look like Jennifer at the beginning of this weekend, so.
Which Jennifer, though, the good one or the bad one?
The beautiful one on this Zoom call here.
But I remember, Veronica, you were saying how that this may spawn a lot of new relationships, huh?
Well, I like to work with a lot of different people and cross-pollinate and get ideas and meet new people, and it's just it's wonderful. And this was a great. Sean brought in a number of great people to work with. I highly recommend that if you guys get a chance to check them out, the folks at Clear Story. He has so many different talents in so many areas. It's unbelievable. And Jay was our editor. He was fantastic. So really nice group of people. Our sound guy, Derek, he ran sound for us, and he also composed some of the music, and he was helping with the drone. So just a lot of fun, really fun people. And I'm going to be going on working with some, trying to actively diversify Stoops Ferry Productions. So I tried to bring Jai George in as our resident poet. and he was such a wonderful man. I reached out to him at the very last minute, like, hey, I got this guy, this lead actor. He can actually rap, and you're a poet. And, we didn't get a chance to do it. So I had to send that email to Jai on Sunday saying, I'm sorry, you wrote this beautiful poetry for us. We didn't wrap till 11:30 at night. We didn't get a chance to film it, but I definitely am looking forward to working with him in the future. I liked his stuff. And so we've been talking behind the scenes. So a lot of good new friends and colleagues, and the folks at Clear Story really helped us up our game a little bit, I want to say. We learned a lot. but they were really cool about it. They were, really cool about good to work with. And sometimes it's hard to blend a professional team with like I said, I call this a hobbyist team, if you will. And we did a good job. I really think we did. That doesn't always work out well, but these are good people. So if you get a chance to work with them, I highly recommend it.
Matt, Alex, Jenny, anything you guys have coming up next, or did this spur any new ideas for you?
Well, next week I'll be moving on to the Atlanta 48-hour film projects.
Oh, so you're collecting them all. How many have you done?
Well, this was my third, second as leader, and that'll be my fourth. And yeah, I signed up pre-COVID for 2 of these, and as production ground to a halt, I realized this would probably be the only way to get some credits this year and salvage 2020. So it's been working out well, and so many independent projects you get attached to, the wheels fall off, either in pre-production or you actually shoot them and then you never see the results. And with the 48-hour film festival, you're going to get a movie done that weekend. So it's really a good thing. So yeah, I've been making contacts in various cities, and I know I mentioned most of my team had never met before, but they all live in Pittsburgh. And so I know that they're already like talking about collaborating on some projects and stuff. So that'll be great for them too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know it's a guy a few years ago. He tried to collect as many different 48s as he could in a single year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did like 15 or 20.
Wow.
And he made a documentary about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm in it. Like he was on my team. Yeah. So if I find that info, I'll pass it on to you.
Nice.
Alex, Jenny, anything for you to add?
Yeah, I mean, my friends and I, we like to think we're funny and creative, and we've been talking about making films for quite a while. And I think this festival was like the first thing that really got us to commit and do it. So it was definitely a confidence builder, and like the process was really fun. And just to think that you can make something pretty substantial in one weekend is pretty inspiring. So definitely gonna keep my eye out for more festivals and just give it a go more often now.
Nice.
Well, I had worked with Joe before on a horror comedy, and I actually kind of randomly wrote a short film and filmed it myself. And he was kind enough to do the editing for me and just encouraged me to do that. And I said, why don't we try to do this 48-hour thing? And that's kind of how it came about. And I think he's so talented, and I want him to get his name out there as much as possible. And he has so much creativity with, usually we work on low budget productions, and he just is so good with practical effects, and just has endless creativity. And so I would always, he's like family to me at this point. So I would always work with him again. And of course I would always work with Roxy again. And I guess I'm a dog momager at this point, and she has 3 IMDb credits. And so I'm trying to rack those up, and yeah. So
that's awesome.
That's about it.
Well, listen, guys, we should probably wrap this up. Oh, wait, Joe, you got something?
Yeah, we have one question from the message board. And so it's, which aspect of making a 48-hour film do you find the most difficult?
The lack of time.
Time, getting everything done in time. You want to put, especially when like you want to make one specific team look a certain way, but then you gotta remember you only got like this to 7 minutes long, and you got 48 hours. Sometimes you just gotta hit the bucket and just take that out there and put something in there and just get it done quick. And also, yeah, that's basically it.
Given the
as they see it, honestly, it's time because
Yeah.
nobody got time for that. I was like, can we make this a 72-hour film festival?
So
that
here's
went
the
over
question
a
that
lot.
I have is and this is expanding it because they sort of ask this too, which is like when time constrains it, what part becomes the hardest because the time isn't there? Is it that the story takes too long to develop, or is it that there's just not enough time in a day to shoot it? Like, you know, in my experience, it's always been post-production becomes the hardest part. But, you know, what can you guys add to that?
The other thing that's part of the calculus of this is that you're not operating on a full night's sleep. So, well, you know, so that's adding to it. You possibly are not operating and you're you know, all full cylinders. But one thing that we ran into, towards the end, we had wanted this really cool shot where there was this elevator and stairs next to it. And we were going to put the DP on the elevator and the actor on the stairs, and it was going to be really great. And no, we just didn't have time. So at the very last minute, we're like, okay, no time. We need another shot. That was the cigarette scene. And so luckily we were able to make that decision very quickly. And our DP was very adaptable, and he came up with this great idea, and I grabbed the actors. I'm like, all right, we're blocking 5 minutes to block it, you know, so you have to be able to make decisions quickly and keep the crowd moving. Sometimes they wander off to you know, to get food or whatever, and you got to keep everything marching on.
Time. Yeah. Sweet, guys. Well, thank you all so much for participating in this talk back. Listen, the movies are up until 11 p.m. on Tuesday, and anybody can watch them in a group until then, both groups. This Filmmaker Talkback will be appended to the end of the B group, the group B filmmaking, you know, tour de force. And then at 6 p.m. tomorrow, the votes will be tallied for the audience choice. At 7 p.m. tomorrow is when our awards presentation will be. So I encourage you to attend the awards presentation. there's Dave O, he's doing crazy stuff. So that awards presentation will be at 7 p.m. Of course, I'll be there. Stephen Dixon, Joseph Stammerjohn, the stalwart help will be there. Mark Rupert is going to be joining us. He's the guy who created the 48-hour film project internationally. He'll be with us. Our judges will be with us to help us give the final awards and say some nice things. So we hope that you will attend. It's free. It will be on Zoom. I've sent you all a link, and the link is also at the 48-hour website. It will also be on Facebook Live, and we got that all lined out, so we won't have a problem. So, but thank you guys so much for being involved in this and for making great movies. And keep making movies because they're awesome to watch.
Thank you, PJ, for all your work.
Yeah. Thanks. Cheers.
All right, you guys.
Appreciate
I will
you.
see you all soon.
Bye-bye.
Hopefully
See ya.
upset.
See y'all.
Till next time. Ta-ta for now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to stop our recording.